Okay, good morning, everybody. We are returning to, one of our favorites, Mono Black Coffers. Sick little puppy, thank you for 3 months resub. We got in the chest, cold open. Good morning to you, chest. Good morning to everybody. Pow of a Pie, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Unbanned sleeping well at night. At least for me, that shit is still banned. What is up, my devoted Spikelings? I'm your one and only friend, and definitely not a cult leader, Spike. Welcome back to my Shark Typhoon. Today, as every day, I'll prove that there is many paths to trophies, my children, so you should take the one that brings you the most joy. My joy comes from innovating and iterating. We're doing that now with updated Mono Black Coffers. Reanimator, watch your creatures return again and again as I return to land the 5-0. Also, please subscribe. Okay, so this is something we've been working on for a little while. This is the Mono Black Coffers mid-range deck, which we played many versions of. This engine of, 24 lands, Profane Tutor, Expedition Map, and Golos is very, very powerful. As we found, there's like a lot of, there's a lot of black cards in Modern, so there's a lot of ways to flesh out this plan. And I've really liked this the most so far, which is Game 1, you're a Reanimator deck. You have Unmarked Grave Persist to go with your Archon of Cruelty. And what's cool about this is this expands your range of nut draws. Where Game 1, when you have Unmarked Grave Persist or you have a fast Urborg Coffers, you're going to be very likely to win Game 1. And then Game 2, in most sideboard games, if you think your opponent's going to be bringing in Graveyard Hate, because you're a mono black deck, you have a really hard time beating artifacts and enchantments. And your options are to either like splash a color and like try to remove those cards, which I don't think is a very good plan. I think the better plan is to just sideboard out of the Reanimator plan and just be like the more mid-rangey standard mono black coffers list. And so before we had like this, we had Voidwalkers in the sideboard, and we had a couple of Invoke Despairs, a couple of Lilianas, one Turok, and this was like our way to like pivot into a mid-range game plan post-board. But now the sideboard is a little different. Now we're doing like some deck construction post-sideboard, where all 15 cards can be part of this deck's transformative sideboard, where you cut the 4 Persist, 4 Unmarked Grave, and the Unburial Rites. Then you have 15 sideboard cards to choose from that are good in different matchups, a bit more standard, a bit more generic. Most of the time you're going to be bringing in the full 4 Despairs, 3 Lilianas, and then you could choose between 2 Turoks. Maybe if you're playing against like Hammer Time or Murktide, you can play the 2 Damnations, 2 Pushes. Playing against combo deck Blue-White Control, you can play in Duresses and actually cut your Fatal Pushes from the main deck. You get to do some deck building post-board, which I think is a pretty cool way to build the deck. This list, like, I get really nerdy and really like excited about the idea of like Game 1 Reanimator, transform the sideboard, deck building post-sideboard. Makes me really excited. Makes me really excited. I've liked this so far. MZ, thank you for the 3 months, appreciate you. Mr. Slipper with the 2 years, happy 2 years, appreciate you. And Hanson with the Twitch Prime, appreciate you. This hand needs to rattle off a couple of lands. I think we're supposed to keep. We can Unmarked Grave for Rites, then play Liliana, discard this, get a Godless Shrine with the Delta. We've got some interaction too. Perhaps not the best against Burn, though. I think I have to take the Swift Spear. If I don't take the Swift Spear here, it's obviously like pretty rough if my opponent draws a second creature. I only have 1 removal spell. Searing Blaze is a pretty dead card too. Opponent suspends the Rift Bolt, not super surprising. This is a matchup that I have liked historically. I think while it's pretty tempting to just like Godless Shrine, Unmarked Grave, or play Swamp and get Godless Shrine later, I think I'm just gonna get the tap to Godless Shrine, try to play a little slower. Liliana in spots like this can like just really chew away at your opponent's hand. We also don't have the 4th land in our hand quite yet, anyways. Opponent's hand is Searing Blaze, Fiery Islet, Lightning Helix, and 2 mystery cards. Wrong Fatal Push Art. Right Fatal Push Art. Right Fatal Push Art. Yeah, that will let me flash back Unburial Rites. So I do have all swamps. I also added a Bojuka Bog to the main deck today. Thinking that there's enough living end to want it. Not 100% sure. Alright, he looks me down to 11. They discarded Scalding Tarn. Searing Blaze Islet, 2 mystery cards. Hard to feel too bad about that exact combination. So okay, we'll discard the Bloodchief's Thirst. Play both of these 2 cards. They discard Sunbaked Canyon. So obviously very good for us that my opponent has, to some extent at least, flooded. Put Rites in the yard, suspend the tutor, pass. Spike to make a good plate of spaghetti. I make an okay plate of spaghetti. Esther is a really, really good cook. She does most of the cooking. She actually has recently acquired, like, MasterChef aspirations or something like that. It doesn't cast anything in a turn, so spins a Rift Bolt. Profane Tutor ticks down. Play Castle Locthwain plus... Skullcrack is worst case scenario, but even if they have Skullcrack, it's going to be hard to lose this game. They do discard the Searing Blaze that we know about. We flashback the Rites on our Archon. Blue-white is the mana tapped. They do have Skullcrack. Should still they need to draw like so they can Rift Bolt me down to 5. And then they need to draw exactly another Skullcrack off the top. But I also have Profane Tutor coming down, so I can tutor for Cling to Dust. Slizwick, the 13 months, appreciate you. What deck would I play for DreamHack 10K? I'm attending that event. I don't know what I'm playing yet. But I am attending. Okay. I think I'm still getting Cling to Dust. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Close game. Kinda. Just kind of in the take a game actions portion of the game. How is Cabal Coffers tapping for mana by itself? Is there a Urborg in play missing? No, but we have 3 swamps. We have 3 swamps, so it effectively taps for 1 mana. Okay, so up a game against Burn. I do think they're gonna bring in Graveyard Hate, so we cut the reanimation plan. Then I'm gonna bring in Fatal Pushes 3 and 4. I think I'm okay for 1 Damnation, probably not 2. I probably want all the Invoke Despairs. Liliana's also pretty good in this matchup. Thoughtseizes are not that good. So I guess I could play Fatal Push or Damnation number 2 or Turok number 1. I think I'll play Turok number 1. This looks really good to me. I'm down. And so yeah, I'm really excited about this. Like, again, the idea is in most sideboard games, you are going to cut your Reanimator plan, which is going to blank their sideboard cards, and it's also going to give you a much better win percentage game 1 to be on reanimation. Then in sideboard games, you get to blank sideboard cards, and then you get to do some deck building, where the whole idea is the whole sideboard gives you like a lot of flexibility with how you can pivot post board. What is the blurb at the beginning of the stream? Someone writes every day. It's my favorite bits. Yeah, a chest. MTGO user, a chest, or I guess at least Twitch user. Started doing it a long time ago. Pretty sure it's easily over a year, maybe 2 years. He doesn't do it every morning. He used to do it every morning though. So I like when he has time, we like to go through the bit. This hand is okay, I think. We are on the draw. We need to draw 1 land. We can map for the 3rd land. We have 4 1-for-1s against Burn and a basic swamp. I think we should keep. Another Turk over Despair can come out earlier. I think that's a fine point, yeah. Although, they both come down on turn 4 if you have Urborg Cabal Coffers. So, like, you kind of think of Invoke Despair as a 4-drop. With the majority of removal being red and white, whereas Phyrexian and Crusader have been hiding. Well, good question. I think I'll just play a map here. Good question. I I know that a lot of people like Phyrexian Crusader. I don't think it's very good in this deck sideboard as... I don't know. I don't love the plan of just like, I'm going to play a turn 3 Phyrexian Crusader against 4-color Omnath, and if this card does not get to attack 5 times, it does nothing. Or I guess like it can block and stuff, but... okay, Sanctifier and Vec. We actually have a lot of ways to deal with this card. We have a lot of sack effects. And Juke the Reanimation too. Always feels nice. I think I'll Duress, hold up push. This turn. Okay, so we can push the Eidolon, untap, Edict to the Sanctifier. Yeah, maybe different decks, but I don't think this one. So what matchups do you think you're not doing the Transformative Plan and sideboarding a little bit more likely? The more linear matchups, so like Titan, I guess, I don't know, Titan also has endurances and they have a decent amount of graveyard hate, but the Reanimation is like pretty popular. They don't usually mulligan for the graveyard hate. Against Living End, you definitely leave in your Reanimation Plan, where just like casting Unmarked Grave is kind of like your best plan against them. And that is also like one reason why I like this build a lot, is that the Karn version, I think, had a pretty bad Living End matchup, but Reanimation Plan is like one of the best things you can be doing against Living End in the first place. There's a few more, just like most super linear decks, you'll leave in the Reanimation Plan, and then your matchups will be like much better for it. Potentially Prowess too, like if we play against like the Shredder Phoenix list that I was playing yesterday, I think there's like a very good chance that they're just playing the same 75 I was playing, and that they're just like not playing Graveyard Hate, because I don't think Graveyard Hate is that important for that deck specifically. So it's, you know, just on a case-by-case basis. Alright, in a spot where a lot of spells are good top decks, a lot of lands are good top decks. And, you know, we saw our opponent's hand. They're definitely light on action. Not a good draw, though, this turn. Deck tech for Arcbound. What if it goes mainstream and expect to switch? I mean, that's just a bridge you cross when you get there, you know. Good Boros Charm, bring me down to 9. Oh, boy. I will say, like, I'm not a huge fan of the Song of Creation Wombo combo. It's you know, it's cool. It's definitely cool, but it's also like one of those, like, if your opponent knows what's going on, it's tough. And then I also, like, one thing I really dislike about this deck is like how slow it can be. Oh boy, what a draw. Obviously, like, you know, you have some Striker Riches, you have some ways to speed the deck up, but there are, like, I feel like there's a decent number of opposing decks that can just, like, solitaire you, which is a big problem for an archetype like this. That being said, like, this list does look pretty tight. I actually love the 4 copies of Engineered Explosives. I would maybe be interested in more than 17 lands, although I guess you don't want to be super land heavy when you're going off with Song. You have 17 lands, 4 Striker Riches, a lot of cantrips. Maybe it's okay. Rolling Vortex. Well, I can kill that with Invoke Despair. Yeah, maybe it's okay. So this 2-mana deal 1. Stop me from drawing a card. I love Mind Collapse too. I've always had a big soft spot for that card. I'm not sure that it's good. It feels like very narrow. Okay, the Invoke, just gonna triple Invoke Despair, I think, for the win this game. Yeah, I'm not sure that I love the Invoke Despair. Not playing it to Teferi Time Raveler as a Glittering Wish target seems like a huge mistake. Teferi Time Raveler seems like one of your best Glittering Wish targets. Man, how I have missed invoking some despair on a Friday morning, huh? So game 1 on the draw, I probably have to mulligan this. Well, let's keep this one. How is this better than traditional burn? What are you talking about? My opponent's deck? Because they just like sideboarded in Rolling Vortex, which is a really bad card. Like I really am like anti-rolling Vortex and Burn. Okay, playing against Rhinos. Guess I'm taking the Agent. It's kind of tough call though. Yeah, so hoping to find an Unmarked Grave or Archon of Cruelty soon. But that can maybe Liliana plus Thirst just kills the Violent Outburst tokens and we get to buy some time. Revan Timbardi Shadowless. I liked the deck. I don't know. I didn't have like it wasn't that popular for one reason or another, even though I liked it a lot, and I didn't have like too many ideas on how to improve it either. But I liked it. I don't know. All right, very timely top deck. GG's coffee. Do you ever take outbursts instead so they have to move at sorcery speed? Well, I don't know. I feel like making them play at sorcery speed isn't that relevant for this matchup. Dark Horse, 14 months. Slow day at work. Good to catch you live. Hope you're well. Glad you liked the stream. Appreciate you. Alright, so opponent's hand is, I believe, Stomp, Odawara, and then 2 mystery cards. So the Odawara can bounce my Archon. So, and also with the Liliana down, I guess that is like a bigger problem. Although it is true, this deck, Archon in the hand is not the worst because you get to replay it. There's an Unmarked Grave to go with my Persist as soon as I draw lane number 4. Oh, they discarded Odawara. I totally missed that. Well, that's great for me. Now they discard the Bone Crusher. I think I'm just gonna Thirst the Rhino token. They have another Violent Outburst. Okay. So if their last card or their top deck is another bounce effect, then I guess we could Thoughtseize our own Archon and then Persist it, but yeah. Or I would kind of prefer to draw a untap land, but at least lets us get an Archon in play next turn. They shock so they can Borrower, I assume. We did draw the land. So they yielded till end of turn erroneously, I think. I think it was probably better for them to sack the Borrower than a Rhino. I could be wrong. Maybe they want the Rhino more. Or the Borrower more. Living End is the better Cascade deck. I agree, but it's also the case that Living End is really popular at the moment. And so there is more Graveyard hate than there is just like traditional Cascade hate. But I do agree overall, Living End is the better deck. Okay. I think the second Grape Shot is needed in the Song deck. We have one Noxious Revival, but maybe you're right. Yeah, so this is a matchup that I'm kind of unsure on wanting to pivot off of the Reanimation plan. I think that I should, because my opponent does get to bring in a lot of endurances. And I guess it is also true that I would rather hard-cast an Archon than reanimate it. I mean, obviously that's like usually the case, but like being able to replay it after it gets bounced is really nice. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I need to play some of cheap removal. I don't think I want any Lilianas. I need to play some cheap removal. Maybe I just have to play all of it, all 7, because I have 7 slots left. Shouldn't you always pivot the game plan to make the cards in their deck dead? I don't think you should always. I think you should always think about it, you know? And usually you do, but the reality is, like, my attitude with this strategy is I am deck building in between. I am deck building in sideboard games. And when that's the case, I think you need to just be carefully considering all options rather than just being like, all right, I always board out of the Reanimator plan. We be out here deck building, chat. Rosewin Arcalite seems pretty sick, actually. Oh no, so I was thinking of the Cascade Manadork. Hey, with the Rhinos deck, everyone I hear from thinks it's a bad deck, a trap. I don't know. People in Modern, when they evaluate decks, are super duper hyperbolic all the time. And I guess I'm being hyperbolic right now, but Rhinos is not a bad deck. Rhinos is a totally fine deck. In fact, like Rhinos, like for a while, like pretty regularly, like was like crushing paper tournaments and was seeing like no play in the Magic Online leagues, and nobody could figure out why. Is a big question. Why is Rhinos taking down all the paper tournaments, but it's like nowhere to be found in the leagues? And the answer to the question is the Rhinos deck is boring to play over and over and over again. Turned out to be the answer. What is this? Barlow, sure. It is boring to play over and over again and have it be your main deck. Is the reality. I think we'll play Golos this turn. Doesn't get Force of Negation. Sets me up for Profane Tutor for Archon next turn. Blocks a Rhino if they have Violent Outburst. What's the updates for today? I did a deck tech at the beginning. I'm into ask mods maybe, like, if for days like today, if like we can like maybe try to clip the morning deck tech. I don't know. Maybe I should have said that earlier. I kind of forgot. Okay, I'm gonna cast Damnation. They have Force blue card, good for them. I have a second Damnation to Profane Tutor for. The rips. Like, I don't think Rhinos is boring at first, but the games are like really repetitive. You know, I was also playing a lot of Rhinos, and this was definitely my my experience too. So I'm just gonna grab an Archon, I think. I can't cast it this turn, but that's okay. Now I'm just gonna go Duress into either Golos or Invoke Despair. I think no matter how boring or repetitive a deck is, people find it fun if they're winning. Yeah, I agree to some extent. To some extent, but I think that the boring theory reflects in the leagues, right? Where if you're playing a deck in leagues like the Rhinos, like I think that there obviously is some wiggle room. Love to be just blanking two endurances here. There obviously is some wiggle room and there's some nuance and like how you can build your deck from weekend to weekend. But if you at this point, if you've mastered the Rhinos deck, there's not a ton for you to learn from this point on. There's not a ton for you to learn from this point on, in my opinion. And so if you've already spent the time to master the Rhinos deck, I think you're most likely going to be fine choosing to play it in a tournament, and people do choose to play them in tournaments and do well. But I think you see very few people still just grinding Rhinos in the league because it's just like not that fun. I think like the fun, boring factor plays it's way more in effect in leagues than in tournaments. Doodle 2-pack. If you want to post a link in the chat, I can take a look. Brittany was the person who started playing Trump first, with people scuffed that first. I think Trump is good. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if, is that just a different point, or like, yeah, I think there is nuance in wiggle room, but I also think that, I mean, people also scoff at like, I know this probably better than anybody. It doesn't matter what you do, like if you change an existing modern deck, people will scoff at you. Like, I was putting Ledger Shredders and Murktide like a few days into the printing of Shredder, and people were like, oh, what's that? You can't change Murktide. Murktide is a super stock list. We can't change Murktide. Yeah, it just doesn't really matter what you do. People are always gonna reject changes to existing modern strategies. Are we keeping this hand? I think you're probably supposed to mulligan pretty aggressively game 1. Keep slower hands games 2 and 3. That's kind of been my philosophy. I think we'll keep this. Yeah, I know. People do this because this is how it used to be for the longest time. But Burn is just like not a tier 1 deck anymore. It's okay deck, but you don't see it as often as you used to. And like Thoughtseize is just better than Inquisition. I've been liking. I kind of would prefer to see 2 Terminates main, 1 Terminate side, and then a 3-3 split of Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, no Terminate, no Night's Whisper, 3 Turok, and then at least a 3rd Liliana. Okay, we can go Thoughtseize turn 1 here. Wait, they didn't lead on Sentinel? Okay. I guess I'll take the Sentinel, and I can go Thoughtseize, Cauldra, push, or Thirst this. As far as the sideboard goes, you have a favorable bird matchup in my experience, so I don't think that you need the sideboard Collective Brutalities. I would like to see the 3rd Terminate in the sideboard. Sideboard feels like a little disfocused in general. Like, you also have a favorable Tron matchup. Like, you also have Alpine Moon, so like I don't think you also need Charmaw, especially when Tron is like not popular at the moment. And I think that you need to be playing more Cascade Hate as well. Like, I think 2 Void Mirrors, 1 Chalice is very important at the moment. Yeah, they did get the Cauldra. And then, like, I want to be playing 3 Turoks main, 1 Turok side. Oh, they drew another Stoneforge. That's pretty good. Can look at my last, I haven't been playing the Rectus deck much, but I was playing 1 Boyle for the Omnath matchup. I thought that was fine. Oh yeah, you have no answers to Sanctifier in Vec. In my opinion, like 3 Engineered Explosives is like somewhat mandatory for Sanctifier in Vec, and that's why I ended up cutting like Hitotsugu from my sideboards. That was on no commands main, 1 command side. You can main deck some commands, it's fine, but obviously not super mandatory. Yeah, but I feel like the Explosives to answer Sanctifier out of Hammer Time are just like that important. Like, to only have like the Lilianas as answers, you're just gonna lose to that card way too often. Well, my opponent didn't hit me with the hammer this turn, so I guess that's a saving grace. I think we're very likely to be dead here. I could do some posturing. I'm gonna concede though. Black for 4 months, appreciate you. Okay, so we're on the draw against Hammer Time, and notably they didn't see my Reanimator plan, so I kind of feel like I'm supposed to be on it for game 2. Bring in the pushes and the damnations. Could leave in this as a discard outlet that I can tutor for. I got the Cling. I still think Liliana is one of the weaker cards in the matchup. Probably with 3 Thoughtseize post board because they did bring in leave in Sanctifier. We have some outs to it, or some extra outs to it. Got 4th Golos. It's fine. Will we be updating the Phoenix Shredder deck for Modern, aka Phoenix Shred Ace Attorney? I mean, I don't know. We had a really strong day with it yesterday. I'm pretty like the sideboard. I think needs some changes. I'm pretty happy with the main deck. I think I'm likely to play it in the challenge tomorrow, so if I am going to update it and play in the challenge tomorrow, it'll be then. Cut 1 Persist. I don't think I want to cut any Persist on the play. Aren't they going to bring in Sanctifier anyways? Yeah, I guess they are just going to bring in Sanctifier anyways. Fuck. Okay, I'm just trying to play 4 Thoughtseize on the play. I think I still like... I don't think they're going to bring in Saga, Graveyard Hate. I think that we can maybe try to either dodge Sanctifier, Thoughtseize Sanctifier, just not have a reanimation draw on the play. Okay, this is exactly the hand I just described having. Fingers crossed. I don't have the... Yeah, so I in the previous version, I had a Sarah's Emissary in the sideboard because I was pretty used to just having Sarah's Emissary in the sideboard of these Reanimator decks, but with us like pivoting off the reanimation plan so often, that was a card that got cut. Why not Voidwalker the sideboard anymore? So yeah, that's a good question. So one, the main graveyard hate in Modern at the moment is Living End. This version, because we're playing the Reanimation package, actually has a really good Living End matchup in my experience. Voidwalker is also relevant against like Tron and Titan, and like what was nice about it in the other version was that it was a very versatile sideboard card. But I ended up feeling like playing it ended up turning on more removal. And when our plan is to, in most sideboard games, basically every sideboard game, pivot into a deck that's more of a mid-range mono black deck, especially against decks like Murktide and stuff, like you're turning on your opponent's removal spells in a way that I thought was like not great. When your plan is to pivot this hard, having these four like more focused sideboard cards was kind of tough, if that makes sense. I guess I'm taking the Sentinel. Yeah, having like these more focused sideboard cards was kind of tough when right now the game plan is to. I know that usually I recommend playing very focused sideboard plans. I know that's usually what I always talk about and recommend. But in this deck, the plan is have a very strong game one by playing the Reanimation package, and you slide out of it into a more generic mono black deck. And what's good about that is basically every sideboard game in Modern is slower than game ones. You're going to get to blank a lot of your opponent's interaction and removal, and then you get to play a kind of unpredictable game plan. And so we're having a plan of just like building a deck post sideboard with a very flexible open sideboard. Okay, that was their draw for the turn. So I think because we know our opponent has, they played their planes, so their hand should be Stoneforge Mystic, Hammer, Nexus, Reality Chip. So even if they draw Sanctifier, they can't play it, which is good for me. Morning, Hammy. Why didn't we Thoughtseize ourselves? We could have Thoughtseize ourselves, I suppose. This also seemed like totally fine, right? So that was their draw for the turn. Yeah, if they brought in Path to Exile, if they have Soul Guide Lantern. Especially on the play, like I just don't feel like it's that necessary. Not very scared of the Cauldron here. Select the Midnight. And concede. Cool. Alright, and so now that they've seen the Persist and we're on the draw, gonna get these out of here. Gonna bring in the Invoke Despairs, the Turoks, like 2 Lilianas. Don't love the 4 Thoughtseize on the draw necessarily. But I don't think I also don't think I want 3rd Liliana over 4th Thoughtseize, so I think I'm just gonna click submit. I love the sideboard jukes. I'm like really nerding out over over this deck. I love it. I love it. 4 Archon's necessary. So yeah, Archon is just like not that hard to hard cast in the deck, especially. Oh no, so I wanted the Golos. I want the Golos. Yeah, Archon is just not that hard to cast. This plan won't ever work at LGS. It'll work for 1 week at an LGS. Oh, we're talking about like how like it's so obvious that you're sideboarding. Well, if you hatch a master plan before you pick up this deck, you start just shuffling your 15 card sideboard into your deck every round, and you talk about how you read an article about how you have to shuffle your 15 card sideboard into your deck every round. Then people won't know. You have to just casually bring up in conversation about how you read an article about how it's always correct to side it your 15 cards, but you have to really sell it, and you have to, do it like 2 weeks before you bring this deck to the FNM. Well, if they watch you, you'll know. Not if you always shuffle your sideboard into your deck and then you pull out 15 cards. If that is always how you sideboard, then they won't know. No, you add all 15 sideboard cards every single time you sideboard this deck, other decks. Take out 15 cards, and then, But also, if they watch the stream, they also probably will know. Yeah, so it's definitely not the most secret plan. Do you have a recent devoted disc that worked on? There's the Naya Rocco one. It's really good if you can find an Urborg, give a removal spell, have a pro white creature, roll the draw. I'm gonna keep. Oh boy. Hold. Yikes. Well, I guess I'm gonna kill that with Thirst instead of playing Troc so I don't just die to Shadow Spear. Don't love that though. On the list of things that I love, that was not it, huh? Yeah, I forgot to pay 11. They have no more creatures! They have no more creatures! Everybody be cool. Alright, so I guess we'll try to kick the Turok next turn then. Oh, fuck. That's unfair. This is unfair. This is like... how am I supposed to play around it? But are they gonna go for it? I have 4 fatal pushes in my deck. Yeah, they're going for it. What are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? Play around freaking flash creatures? Not me. Not me. Not today. Not in this lifespan. We're on the draw. We're a 24 land deck. If this hand draws a land, it's okay. We have 3 1-mana pieces of interaction. Get a mulligan anyways. Keep. Right, just naturally have Urborg Coffers, so we can go turn 2 rights, and if we draw 1 land, or turn 2 Unmarked Grave, we can go turn 4 rights. That was a cool play. That was such a cool play. My opponent might be playing Reanimator. I think we'll haul the Storm Giants. I'm going to put them off Reanimator. And then here we'll suspend Profane Tutor, which can grab us another Coffers potentially. Yeah, you don't want to play... I mean, you're pretty hard capped on the number of colorless lands you can play. Like, we're playing a Blast Zone and a Cascading Cataracts. I feel like you can maybe play one more, but you probably shouldn't. I'm also of the opinion that, like, you're basically never tutoring for Arch of Oruska over like Cabal Coffers or Urborg or Takenuma or Castle Locthwain or... oh yeah, you also have Castle Locthwain. Yeah, you're just like never getting it, I think. Well, that sucks. Come on, land. Shock and Hell Fountain. I guess that counts. Them countering my Unmarked Grave was so brutal with 2 reanimation spells in hand, though. That being said, we have a lot of mana for next turn. And I think this matchup is fine as well. Although their draw has been very good against mine. I think I play map first. It's kind of close. I think it's good to play the Golos here first as well. It's also kind of close. We have so much mana for next turn. Yeah, this is a bit of a visual bug. The cards that stay exiled off of or like suspend cards that get exiled from Teferi just stay chilling. Alright, lots of good top decks from here. Land, I think, lets me go Rites, Golos, activate Cataracts. I might be able to do that anyways. The land, I think, definitely lets me. So let's see, 6, 10, 14, 5. I guess I have more mana if I get the Golos done first. The problem is if they counter this Rites, it's tough. So can I bait here? So go another Coffers, go up to 10 mana, kick. I have to act tap again. Yeah, I don't have enough. Don't have enough to go kick Thirst, Rites, then activate Golos. So I think I'll just go for Rites. If they counter it, they counter it. We have the flashback Rites available for later. Then we can, oh wow. Then we can, kick the Thirst on the Teferi. Do I get Castle Locthwain? Do I get another? I don't think I need the 4th Coffers. I think I just get Castle Locthwain. Could also get the Godless Shrine, but let's get the Castle. Then activate the Golos, I think is better than kicking the Thirst. We do have a land drop we can play, so we'll play this so we can get our white source. Did I add mana from Golos land? I guess I'm confused by the question. I think I just take the March, so they can't exile my Golos. So they play Jace, they play Jace, who cares? I did to activate Golos. Cool when both decks like this just kind of get to do their thing. Yeah, Persist not getting Golos is always like the most awkward thing about this deck. That was kind of my total mana. Did I add the extra mana from Golos fetching a land? I did, yeah. But that obviously only works if the Rites resolves first, so I was thinking about trying to use the Thirst as a bait spell, you know? Bog, the 14 months, appreciate ya. Welcome back. Okay, so start off by casting Golos. Resolves. 4th Coffers, I guess. Yeah, gotta be 4th Coffers. I guess it could be 2nd Castle. It should be 2nd Cataracts, huh? Okay, there's a Profane Tutor for us. Also land to play for turn. So this is gonna get me a Archon of Cruelty. Yeah, no, this was already exiled from Teferi. It just kind of lumps all the exile cards together. Not sure what they're pausing about. Forced pitching verdict. Okay, fair enough. Alright, let's go Cling to Dust, Escape. Into Liliana. Into Kick Thirst. I guess I don't get to activate the castle this way. It's probably going to be okay. They pitched the verdict, so you have to assume they probably have another counter spell, but they haven't countered. They didn't counter Liliana. All right, it's very dumb. It's very dumb. Yeah, them getting to take up Teferi 3 times, resolve Jace is crazy, but that's the power of Golos. The power of Golos. Why didn't they verdict Golos? Seems greedy. I had the Rites flashback. Ooh, okay, so they're trying to set up for this Kaya's guy. I see. I see. Okay, well, we're doing pretty good still, I think. As much mana as we want. Castle Locthwain and Liliana. Because they can haul the Storm Giants Liliana, but then they tap out. Should I push Golos responsive to your hand? I don't think so with Liliana in play. What a top deck. So even if they have a counterspell here, I just have Persist. So they have to have 2 counters here. So we get their Jace, we get their last card in their hands. Feeling good. I can also push their Hall of the Storm Giants too, or their Hall of the Storm Giants over here. I do love about this deck, like most Reanimator decks. Oh no, they can bounce my Archon. We're in such bad shape. This deck just does not care. It does not care at all. Wow, they drew Teferi into Counterspell, and it's still not good enough. Okay, transform sideboard. Duresses over Fatal Push. Very clean, very clean. I'm gonna click submit and get a drink real quick. Be right back. Okay, can't really mulligan Urborg Coffers, so I'll keep.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
They do have, like, Spreading Seas. I guess I'd rather them Spreading Seas this turn, or not give them a good target this turn. Yeah, my mom bought me a mini fridge for the stream room, so I wouldn't have to go take so long to go get a drink. But the room blows a fuse when it's in here, so unfortunately can't really use it. I think I'm gonna get the Cascading Cataracts so I can try to play and activate Golos all in one go. Tech for Bagel. Modern Shamans. I really dislike Lightning Bolt and Shamans. Like, main phase Surgical Extraction my Lilianas. Well, I'm at the very least. Oh, sorry. Upkeep. I'm at the very least like happy that my opponent brought in Surgical and I juked the reanimation plan. Like playing Lightning Bolt and Shamans feels like very outdated mindset for deck building. It's like, I'm playing a red deck. I need to play removal. I need to gotta be Lightning Bolt. It's modern removal. Gotta play Lightning Bolt. But Lightning Bolt kind of sucks in modern. Lightning Bolt kind of sucks in modern. It's a pretty mediocre card. And it doesn't synergize with your deck very well. Your deck can just kind of ignore your opponent, do your own thing, overpower your opponent. And you're only playing 2 Seasoned Pyromancers. This card's nuts in your Collected Company Shaman's deck. You gotta play 4 of these. You probably just have to play 4 of these and 4 Flamekin Harbingers, because I always feel like turning Rage Forger is really important, but maybe you don't have to play the full 4. What is happening? They're surgicaling my Expedition maps? Okay. Deal. Yeah, I feel I like the rest of the list, at least the spells. I think you probably need to not play Rootbound Crag. You need to not play Scavenger Grounds. I would play more Den of the Bugbears. I would be playing probably 2, at least 2, maybe 3. The Crags I think are pretty bad on your mana when you're playing all these Dens, Scavengers, Copperline Gorges though. I would play the 4th Stomping Ground instead. Yeah, just to be a bit more on the Dens in my opinion. I think I'm probably supposed to Thirst this so that my Invoke Despair gets the full 3 cards. I like the Maguses. You probably want to play the 4th Magus in the sideboard. I imagine your big mana matchups are kind of tough. Dismember kind of seems like the kind of card where you're like, okay, I don't have a lot of removal spells. I need to play removal spells in my sideboard. But the reality is you need to be playing like Ancient Grudge and Force of Vigor for specifically the Hammer Time matchup, and then you need to be playing Cascade Hate. You need to be playing like more than just 1 Void Mirror. You need to be playing like 2 Void Mirrors, 1 Chalice, or like 3 Void Mirrors, 1 Chalice. Probably 3 Void Mirrors, 1 Chalice. And then like probably 3 Ancient Grudge, 2 Reclamation Sage. Alright, easy keep. One thing I think I kind of failed to go over a little bit, but like Profane Tutor overlaps really well with both the Reanimation plan and the oh no. Playing against the Boom Bust deck, probably. But the Profane Tutor comes on turn 4 for Unmarked Grave, Persist, or turn 4 for Cabal Coffers, Urborg, so just such a perfect card in the deck. Playing this Blanksy turn 2 Boom Bust. Cleansing Wildfire themselves. We've run into the land destruction matchup for the 5-0. This is bad. 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 No, our Golos. No land destruction, baby! No land destruction. Let's fucking go. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go Thoughtseize them, Unmarked Grave, put Archon in the yard, get Persist next turn. Their hand sucks. So I'll take Ragavan so they can't Thoughtseize me, I think. I don't care about the Fury, probably. I'm playing the 8-bird list later today. I played it basically all stream yesterday, so it's not necessarily on the docket, but I think I'm likely to play it in the challenge tomorrow, and I've got some other stuff prepped for today too. Playing Team Murktide with Abundant Harvest and Shredders. I think I went too deep with Saga. Yeah, I think you probably did, but Harvest is focused with Shredder. That's interesting, yeah. Harvest is a pretty underexplored card. I like the card. Discard Cauldron, discard Triome. So even if they have like Boom here, we still get to get our Persist. Stoneforge with Cauldras in the graveyard. Sword of Fire Ice. And it's Fury, Sword of Fire Ice, mystery card? Thanks, Pokey. They discard the sword, so don't know what that last card is. I'm not blocking, I know about the Fury. If I win this prediction, I'll be at 1 million and can become a VIP. You could already be a VIP if you wanted to and save your million, I guess. Unless you want to, you know, feel like you earned it. They sacked Fury? They sacked Fury? What the hell? Ever heard of the Red Co-op sub song? I haven't, no. These are left over from Housewarming Party. I've been using them so I don't have to do dishes. Okay, we win game 1 against the Boom Bust deck, which feels great. Push is probably better than Thirst because they're playing Ragavan, so Fortune Mystic 2. I imagine they're going to bring in Graveyard Hate, but I don't really know exactly what their list looks like. I don't know if Ice 9 has updated the manifesto. Kind of like 1 Damnation, 4 Push, 0 Bloodchief's Thirst, 1 Turok, or no Turoks? Yeah, no Turoks. Yeah, I just love the we do some deck building sideboard, postboard. We do some deck building. We have all the options available to us. Isn't Lily bad versus Pyro? Maybe. Yeah, it's bad against Pyro, but I think it's probably pretty good against the rest of their deck. Uncontested Ragavan, though, is pretty good, though. Guess we didn't want to draw that anyways. So no Cauldron to get, but they can equip Sword to Ragavan next turn. But now I have a Fatal Push. A very timely Fatal Push. So they can go Stoneforge, Sword, equip. Then I can go Liliana Edict, Stoneforge. Of course they don't go for it. Fuck. Why would they? Why would they when it's just way better to cast the second Ragavan? I think we still Liliana Edict. Could be better to suspend Profane Tutor though. Yeah. Their play was fine. Their play was fine. Just rough. Can't quite invoke any Despair. They have 3 cards in their hand. Really hoping to just still... Or maybe they're just not... No, they have to be playing Boombusts. They're playing Flagstones and the Indestructible Land. Okay. I think I'm just kind of happy to see... Oh, they failed to find... failed to find an equipment. Alright, I guess I'll play the Golos because it blocks pretty well here. Obviously also makes me able to cast whatever next turn. You kind of still need to dodge land destruction. Oh, I bet they have very few ways to kill the Golos. Yeah, it could have invoked that turn too. Sword of Stone and Rain. Hopefully no time soon. Alright. Counting your mana is for tournaments. Okay, didn't have enough to invoke Despair too, but we'll draw something, right? Golos, very, very carefully calculated dodging Justice Strike. It's all so clear, chat. It's all so clear. We play Golos so that it can dodge Justice Strike. It's all so clear. Just gonna push this so I can draw the full amount. Oh, I forgot I have this. Guess it's not coming down this turn though. Okay, so play this. I'm not gonna bother attacking. Too lazy. No point. Just a time waster to attack here. Godless Shrine for 20 months. Appreciate you. As we get to start our turn off with an Archon of Cruelty. Usually a pretty good way to start a turn. Alright, I guess we win. Have to attack though. It's pretty inelegant to have to attack to win this game. But thankfully we made our opponent concede instead. Okay, so we 4-1 our first league. We lost to a beautiful play where my hammer type opponent had no creatures, but they had a Sigarda's Aid in play, so I thought I was safe to not play my Turok as a chump blocker, wait to kick it the next turn, and then they played a reality chip at instant speed and then killed me with hammer. So if that was our one loss, we'll happily take it. Good league, good league.